probably just start with the game that most of us has played this week. And Gary, you want to let us know what that is?
Mass Effect.
Yeah, it is.
Andromeda.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So obviously last week I talked about it. And I just want to say I am not going to be as negative as I was last week. So last week, I will say I was caught up in a little bit of the GIF hype, a little bit of the
facial
5-second videos that were going out there, the facial expressions, the animations of the game. And now that I've actually dived into the game, and I'm much farther than either of you guys are.
Yep.
So I don't want to spoil anything.
Do you want to say how many hours you think you are?
Probably anywhere from 12 to 16 hours.
Okay, so I just started today, and I'm about 2.5 to 3 hours.
Yeah.
Anthony?
Double that.
Okay, so about 5 to 6.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Did you guys change the characters at all? You create...
I changed it.
Oh, I always
No,
keep...
the guy looks so terrible.
The guy does look terrible.
No,
Let's
he was
just
such-
be honest.
But I always keep him. I always keep him.
I
It's the way that they
kept-
want
I
you
couldn't
to
look
do.
at him. I was just like, I'm
He
going to
does
punch this
look-
guy in the face.
He has a punchable face, man. He has
No
a very
way.
punchable
Scott
face.
Ryder.
Scott Ryder, yeah.
So the one thing that Justin wanted me to tell you guys today, this is a Justin's
This is a
request.
All right.
It has to do.
Justin's request.
There it is. His one request is he wanted you guys to ask, or he wanted me to ask you guys, what do you think he named his rider? So Scott Ryder, he customized his character.
So it's not Scott Ryder, it's something
not
Ryder.
Scott
I'm
Ryder.
going to say it, Richard Ryder.
That's it.
Nailed it.
How well do you know this kid?
Dick Ryder.
Dick Ryder.
Immediately, dude, not gonna lie, I read it and I was just like, I thought the same thing, but I was just like, I'm not gonna do it. Not gonna do it.
So that was Justin's one request, is that we talked about Dick Ryder.
End the podcast. We're done. That's it. There's no getting better. There's nothing better than that. We're done. Have a great night.
I looked at the face, I was like, the name, dude. I was just like, it's coming together.
Ryder is such a ridiculous name. It's such a ridiculous name. I will kind of why don't you guys tell me your thoughts, and then I can kind of add on to anything that I thought, because I'm a little bit further than you guys. So
Sure. So initial impressions of the game, I started playing it, and the tutorial does a really good job of not really hitting you with all this heavy conversation, but more of just like, you're on this planet, you have to, your friends are in trouble, you got to go save them. So it's very, or action orientated, which I appreciate, because I thought this whole beginning of this game was going to be just conversation, slow. But it starts off pretty quick, and then it slows down. So the gameplay feels great. It just feels like Mass Effect. I shouldn't say great, because there's better third-person shooters. Let's be honest. But it feels like a slightly better Mass Effect. I like the jump and dash ability. I like that that's in there.
The jetpack.
I guess that's the jetpack, but like I use the dash a lot more than anything else.
you will use the jetpack.
I'm sure that I will.
Yeah.
So I'm going for more of an adept character. So yeah, boom.
That's it. I'm already adept level 3.
Yeah,
Something
so
like
it was like I just found the first memory that you give to Sam, which is your artificial intelligence. And he's like, oh yeah, like unlock adept or like pick soldier. And I was like, fuck, add all the points into adept so I can pick adept.
Yeah.
So I thought the gameplay is fine. It feels better than normal Mass Effect, but it's a BioWare game. It's kind of like one of those like Fallout, Bethesda-esque thing. Like, what you're getting into when you're playing a Mass Effect game. Like you kind of understand that. And so with that being said, watching the animations, yes, it's weird. It is like the eye thing. His eyes they're both different. They're not the same eye. It's like you made one model and then you made the right model, and the right model is way different than the left. It's like, just make them two and just work together. And I don't know how to make video games, but it looks weird. That being said, it doesn't take me away from the story that's being told, even though that story isn't all that great.
You like the family stuff at the beginning of the game?
So I didn't get all the whole, like, oh, she's my sister, bro. Like, I
didn't
love
get it?
her. No, I got like,
Yeah, there was.
it was just like, oh, she's in a coma. And all I was just like, oh, is she going to be okay?
The parts where he's talking about, like, we were, like, competing to be the best.
Nope, didn't get that either.
Didn't
You
get any
get
of
those
that.
conversations.
They might have cut. They might have cut it for the if it update.
I don't know.
Didn't get any of that.
I didn't get any of that, like, competition stuff. And maybe it was...
There's because
maybe
I'll
it's the
just
way
clarify.
The only one point was when she says he goes, she was born 1 second before
Yeah.
me into this world. She
Yeah.
had to be number. That was it.
No, like there was conversations that I've had where you were talking to like your father or somebody else.
I didn't
And-
have a single conversation with my dad.
Yeah, you never talked to your dad, and you didn't even know your father until you.
You didn't talk to
leave.
him before you went to the planet.
No, like, so the game kind of
Yeah,
the
you
game
know.
starts
Okay,
you
so
off.
Interesting. Very
So
interesting.
Yeah.
The
So I
game
feel
starts
like
you off as like you're just kind of you play a character and then you wake up from cryo sleep for 600 years
Yeah.
and then they're like, oh, something we just hit this fucking floating seaweed thing.
Yeah.
And then it's just
the
like
scourge.
yeah, the scourge, whatever
It's
it is.
just-
And then
it's-
they're like, oh, that's Sector 7. What is it called?
I don't know.
Planet 7?
It is Planet 7. Yeah.
Whatever
Habitat
it is.
7.
Habitat 7, thank you. And then they're like, oh, your sister's, she suffered a little, she's a little concussed. She's going to go into a coma. And then you're like, oh my God, is she okay? And they're like, yeah, she'll be fine. It's just go do your own shit. And then the dad gives this speech where he's like, we've
We're
come
past
here
that, yeah.
to explore, blah, blah, blah. And then you go out onto the planet and, shit happens. And then you get separated. And then
Interesting.
that's,
Yeah,
and then you
that
know
was-
what
yeah.
happens from there.
Yeah. That's
But yeah, there
interesting.
was no. Maybe they got
Yeah.
there's no way. How the fuck? There's no
No.
way that you
No.
must have did something.
The early.
Something that was like, I don't know. I mean, like, I got the impression like he was talking about him and his sister were always in a competition, how like she would have wanted to be the best, and like he had like a long conversation about his sister, and then like the whole thing with the father, like we'll say, I don't want to spoil anything, but there's something that happens with the father, and like that whole thing I find very cheesy. The one cool tidbit though is if you customize your character, your father does change depending on how you customize your character
That's pretty cool.
to look more.
So what
like
is your what? Could you
He's
customize?
got like long slick back hair.
My dad looked like a scruffy,
Yeah.
salt and pepper.
Yeah, I had the same father as you.
Yeah, because we picked
We
the
had the
same
same
thing.
dad.
yeah.
Customized. Yeah.
That's cool though. I appreciate
Yeah,
that.
so that's a-
I wonder if your sister will look different.
no, I
than-
customized her as well.
Oh, okay,
So
that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, because Sarah
It's-
Ryder looks real bad.
yeah, she
Although
looks drugged up. She looks
Cora,
like-
Cora, I saw her and I was like, why doesn't the main character look like Cora here? That just makes sense.
Yeah,
Also,
the other
I
guy.
think I might have left Kensington or something like that. Very beginning, it's like we're trying to be friendly with these aliens, and then they shoot him. I don't know if you can save him.
You
or not.
left him behind.
No, I didn't leave him behind. I went to I was like, oh, we're trying to be friendly, and then they shot him, and I went,
Yeah.
fuck. So I don't know if you.
Oh,
Can save
I don't
him
know.
or not.
I'm trying to be an asshole as much as possible.
Oh,
That's how I
wonderful.
do Mass
No,
Effect.
my
though.
gosh, you got shot.
Like as soon as we went on that first planet,
Mm-hmm.
they're like, "Don't shoot unless you get shot at." As soon as I saw an alien, I'm shooting them.
Also, can we talk about the morality system really quickly?
Yep.
No morality, no renegade.
Tone.
Renegade.
It's tone.
It's
now.
so yeah. There's it's emotional. There's
Logical,
four
yeah.
responses:
Logical,
emotional, professional, logical, and casual. And they're fucking. I don't know.
Weird.
They're weird.
Well, that's what I was saying last week. Is that it makes it for you. You don't really know what to expect out of your character, which is
Yeah.
something that is different than previous Mass Effects. So,
Mm-hmm.
like previous Mass Effects, you knew you were being a dickhead.
Mm-hmm.
You knew you were being a renegade. So you like the path made sense
Mm-hmm.
for how like conversations went, how you acted. Right now, you're kind of all over the place. Like, I'm trying to be a dick as much as possible, but sometimes they just don't give you that choice.
Yeah. Well, they
And-
don't. I feel.
and-
Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, and so you don't get that choice. So then I'm like, what's the worst one out of the two that I can pick?
Mm-hmm.
And then, I mean, the one thing I'm trying to bang every single chick that I see
Obviously.
on every planet. I've got the love little symbol, the little love heart. I've got it on like 4 different girls going
Haven't
right now.
hit that yet.
Yeah, and I'm fucking pounding that love button.
That deep
That's what I'm
head.
doing.
Pounding that love button.
Pounding that love button is what I do. So Brian, you obviously haven't gone to the first world EOS yet.
No.
So you're still in the Nexus.
I'm still on the Nexus. I'm running around doing
Have you
a bunch
even
of
been on the Tempest yet? Which is your
which
actual
is the
ship?
Normandy? No, I have not. Although I have found the Normandy toy in my dad's office. Stole that real quick.
Yeah, there's a decent amount of them around. They're kind of collectibles.
Yeah,
that you can find.
Cool. But yeah,
what about you, Anthony?
So I did make it to the first planet, and then when you get to finally control the Tempest, it is the same like Mass Effect from 3, where you get to explore the universes, and then kind of mine the minerals, and then go on to the planet, which is what I wanted from
a Mass Effect game.
That you could kind of pick the planets, and then it makes sense that they're looking for a new habitat that you would explore multiple planets.
But it also
limits.
Alerts you when there are minerals to find, so you don't spend your time scanning a planet. That doesn't have anything.
That's what they did in 2, right? In
2 you had to mine. Like 2 you had to scan planets.
Maybe
3 I think they might have changed it up. But like this, it's like, because the first couple planets, I'm like literally like it's left trigger to scan the planet. I scan every inch of the planet and don't get anything. I'm like, what the hell? Like it says they're minerals, and then as soon as I back out, it's like alert, and then you have to send a probe out to a certain other location, and then it brings you to get those minerals wherever. And while we're on the topic of flying throughout space, and I think it's absolutely fantastic. So the going from planet to planet, from solar system to solar system, like it feels like you're literally flying through the solar system or flying through space. Like the way that everything's mapped out and how you approach things, and how once you come up to a planet, even when you get into your ship, your outlook of your galaxy map, and like when you're at your captain's deck, you're overlooking the planet that you're about to land on.
Nice.
And it looks really fucking sweet. And then the other thing...
Well, I mean, it must look extra sweet. Ultra sweet on that PC.
It does. It does. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
It really does.
Nice.
But it's also... The other thing I like about it when you're mining planets is... I'm pretty sure you could probably do this on consoles as well, is you can get rid of the UI around the planets themselves, and then you can literally just 360-degree spin around the planet and just see the visuals of how it looks to the sun of the solar system, and it's pretty remarkable how you go in between planets. And they do it because of loader screens. Like obviously it like kind of pans out really slowly, and then
but it's still
still gives you
nice to look at and engage.
The new Zelda does that. I wish a lot more games would let you get rid of
the loading screen.
Even I'm talking about like the hub where you can get rid of all the UI shit.
Yeah, and
so you can just kind of look at what it is.
Horizon,
when everything's
Horizon's photo mode does the exact same thing.
Yeah. Right.
A lot of games are going towards that.
Yeah.
I think The Witcher used to do that, or The Witcher at least did that on PC.
I mean, it just seems like it wouldn't be too difficult to just, for an option, just turn off the hub.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Yeah.
So it's a really cool feature. Going in between planets, the UI is very smooth in the game. I mean, I love fucking outer space, so it's just like, what fucking
you mentioned that last week.
Like, what planet is that?
Yes.
We're flying there. Like,
Let's do it.
Let's do it. So I think it's really well done.
I just want to put this out there. I've only said under 3 hours. I feel like people giving it 6 and 7s, and this is just my initial 3 hours, is that I felt like people either had way crazy expectations for this game, or I just haven't gotten to a point where it's like redundant and boring. But these first 3 hours, I'm like, yeah, this is what Mass Effect is. Like, there's
nothing.
So you think it's the beta thing?
I don't know.
Brian, I think it's a bandwagon mentality.
You think so?
I really think so. I was having a conversation with a friend of mine who is deciding to not purchase this game based off of reviews. And
I was going to do the same thing.
And he's looking at it going, it's a 75 on Metacritic. Multiple people are saying the same thing. I judge that. And I'm like, from somebody that is playing the game, that has put almost 15 to 16 hours into the game, I'm telling you, if you enjoy Mass Effect, you will enjoy this game. And that's the thing, right? So last week, I even jumped on like the animations. Like, yeah, the animations
are
pretty
bad.
fucking shitty.
But if
Like,
you
they're
look
shitty.
at previous Mass Effects,
They're
they're not
roughly-
never all that great.
Justin
to begin
retweeted
with.
a Mass Effect 3
Yeah,
versus
versus-
facial GIF,
Yeah,
and Justin thought that it was Mass
Who?
Effect Andromeda. And I literally had to explain to him that it was Mass Effect 3. But besides the point, the game itself, the core mechanics, and I'll get into a couple of the core mechanics that I think are really, really well done. The animation don't take away from it, right?
No.
It's the gameplay is improved on the Mass Effect formula, which doesn't take much. Like, it
No.
wasn't the best.
Yeah.
And it's improved upon, which is good. But my biggest thing and my biggest takeaway, and Anthony, you can maybe speak to this a little bit, is the exploration of the planets themselves are way more massive than has ever been in a Mass Effect game. It's way less linear. So beforehand, it was kind of you'd fall into a planet, and then it's like, this is the pathway.
Yeah.
You're going to go this way. Now
Here's the
it's
scenario on this planet. Go
now
do
it's
that.
literally you get onto a planet. There's just 15 side missions you can do. Just go.
Okay.
Go onto the planet. You have a Tempest. You have a car. You're riding
I got
over
this.
shit. You can go up the side of a mountain. You can get up. One planet that I was just exploring last night, and I'm still not done with it, has 7 different levels to the planet. So, like, there's 7 levels to this one planet. And, like, I'm literally not doing main missions anymore.
Yeah, just running.
I'm
around
just
doing
running
side
around
missions.
exploring, farming minerals, fighting aliens, and exploring. And then the other thing that they bring on to the map itself is that there's a bunch of different fast travel locations now. So you'll see a spot on your map that will have like a white symbol on it. If you walk up to that, a drop pod will fall from the sky on that location and be like, okay, now you can select your loadout, so you can add weapons, you can change your armor, and then you can also call in your
airstrike.
Nomad, your vehicle, if you need to call it in, or you can go back to your Tempest from any different location, or
Nice.
you can fast travel in between these locations. So, like, the verticality of the levels themselves, and just the sheer fact of open world RPG farming is incredible. It really is. And each planet, I've been on now 4 different planets.
Nice.
Each planet is very different than the last. And that is something that is really, really fucking cool. And I'm talking about, like, this last planet, like, a lot of it, yeah, it's 7 different levels, but it's very vertical, but it still, like, looks like a rainforest, or it looks like a jungle. But it's very vertical in the scale of it.
Can
I've
you
also been
hide
on,
in trees?
you can climb on trees, you can climb on magic mushrooms, like all that shit.
Wonderful.
And then a planet before that I was on was all ice. It was all ice. It was like a
So
snow
you
planet.
went to Hoth, and then you went to Endor.
There we go. Yeah.
It's like
then-
episode 5, then 6.
What's the desert?
Tatooine.
Then that's EOS.
That's EOS.
Yeah.
So in Tatooine's before Hoth?
Yeah.
Star Wars.
Full circle.
Yeah.
Full circle.
Full circle. So that's like the biggest thing to me, is that once you get away from the animations, the story itself, I feel like, just because it's Mass Effect, we haven't reached what the story actually is. I think,
Yeah.
we think, okay, we're trying to, we left humanity 600 years ago, and now we're trying to find a new home for the humans, right? That's the story they're telling us, but
Something bigger.
there's something happening. There's
Yep.
something happening. Obviously, they're trying to create a new trilogy, so something's going to happen probably halfway through the
Halfway, yep.
game. And then once that happens, then the real story is going to pick up, and then something will happen at the end of the game, which will be a cliffhanger to get to the next one. But I don't think the story is just going to be, we're just trying to find a new home.
Yeah.
If that's what the story
Yes.
is, I'm probably going to be slightly disappointed in the game. But it's when you push aside the animations, you push aside even the story right now, and just appreciate the gameplay and the RPG mechanics. It's a nice addition to the Mass Effect series.
Yeah,
I think it's really good.
So I went in, and maybe this is, again, like, I went in with pretty low expectations because I was caught up in the whole, terrible animations. This game is not so great. It's not the Mass Effect that you know and love. And I started playing it, and I noticed right away, the animations are a little weird, but it's Mass Effect. Like,
They've always kinda,
this is a Mass Effect game. It
Yeah.
is a worthy addition to the Mass Effect series, and I don't understand why everyone is so down on it
It's
right
a
now.
bandwagon mentality.
I think that it's just the first thing to kind of stumble. So you got Resident Evil, then you got Horizon, then you got Zelda, and now you have Mass Effect. And Mass Effect is the first major AAA title that kind of stumbled and didn't hit all the marks that it was supposed to. And people are just they just have all this pent up like
disappointment for the year.
negativity. It's the first
ridiculous.
disappointment, which is not a disappointment for me right now.
No, it's not. And I think I was saying last week that I thought it would be. But I think looking back on it now and what I was playing, like I think the beginning of the game, yeah, rightfully so, like you could look at it and be like, this isn't what I want the next Mass Effect to be. But once the world really opens up and you get through the tutorial and you get through like where they cut me off in the trial, like it's very like I'm not doing main story anymore. Like I've literally been doing like 15 different side missions I'm working on in farming minerals.
Yeah.
Like that's what I'm doing. Like, and I'm crafting armor. The one thing that it's crazy is the amount of armor and loot in this game is actually insane. Like there's a ton of different things that you can do in this game. And there's a ton of different armor you can find. There's merchants you can buy stuff from. But at the end of the day, if you're just farming minerals, like I spent last night probably 2 hours on this one planet doing side missions and farming minerals, and then by the time I got back to my ship, I was able to farm or craft an entire armor set and 2 new weapons. And it was because I just was farming everything. I got back and I'm like, I have all these minerals, I got to start putting them to use. But that's what you can do.
Yep.
And
or you could just play the main story.
Or you could. And then you customize the colors of all your armor, the shades of it, the weapons, the attachments, like
the mods and everything for
all the mods for it. You
bullets.
develop, you find blueprints, you develop those blueprints, and then you create them, and then you get the points for scanning certain items. And depending on what solar system you're in, you can
craft those 2 different weapon categories.
You craft different alien weaponry depending on that location. And then I think the crafting and the RPG mechanics in the game are really well done. I think it's really well done. I think the gameplay itself is very solid. I think that the ability to have all the abilities is interesting. Where we talked about it a little bit last week.
You're not locked
you're not
into
just
one thing.
an adept character. You're not just a soldier. You're not just an engineer. You can literally, like, I have one class, and now I'm full adept. Like I'm adept level 3 now. I have pull, which the thing that's fucking sweet about pull now is that you can literally pull and hold somebody in the air.
The Darth Vader.
So you can Darth Vader people. So all I've been doing is just sucking people to me and just punching them in the face. Sucking them and just punching them to the face. And that's like how pull works. And now you upgrade so you have 2 people. Literally, I can just pull 2 people off from behind cover and just look off the edge of the map and just throw them off the map. And then you're done with that.
Pull, throw.
Or pull punch, you know. And then I'm using shockwave, and then I'm using, I think it's like Leer or something. It's you shoot like
the spear.
Yep. So I'm using those 3, and I'm upgrading that. But
it's a solid fucking choice.
It fucking wrecks people in the face. And then I also, because you have a favorites wheel, so I don't know if you guys have used that.
I did that.
So on my favorites wheel, I have a class that is a cryo beam. I have the barrier, and then I have the Krogan rocket launcher on one class. So at any point in time, I can literally just switch from either being adept and using my abilities, or I can go full on
like
rocket
soldier,
launcher barrier with a cryo beam. And you can then set up 4 different classes. So in any particular, the only downside of this is you can't switch your weapons. So you can't switch your weapons, but you can switch your abilities.
Yeah.
So, but that's an interesting switch on the gameplay itself. I'm liking it though, because you get to create a character of your own, right? So like when in the older Mass Effect games, you're creating an adept character, you're creating a soldier, an engineer, whoever, and you only had these abilities that you can pick from. Now you can say, well, maybe, yeah, I like adept, but
I want this one Vanguard skill.
I want this tech skill. I want this combat skill. I want this and that. And I want to mix it in between with what I'm working with. And then you created your own class. And I think that's interesting. I think that's really interesting. I think it's cool.
So I'm like right at those, like that pre-stage where it's showing me like, hey, you have points. You can allocate this to really anywhere that you want.
Yep.
So at
it
this
doesn't
point,
hold anything back either.
Yeah.
It gives you everything like you can choose
right
from.
right out of the gate. I'm like, all right, what does this do? What is this skill? Like, let me look at all these skills and see like what I would want to use in a combat scenario.
And then also, fun fact, go into your settings and you can turn to have your helmet on during cutscenes.
Oh, that's probably key.
The better, so the animations aren't as bad.
Well, one, you take away the animations that you would see, and then two, like if you're on a planet that they're talking about that there's radiation on, your guy's not just sitting there
With
in
his
the
helmet.
cutscene with his helmet on.
Yep.
Or with his helmet off. Like that was one thing last week that I was like, what the fuck? And the default setting is to
Helmet
have
off.
their helmet off during cutscenes.
To show those facial expressions.
Which is crazy. Which is crazy. But that's a pro tip out there. And then
But
I also
hold on, before we go off,
Okay.
I have a story about Mass Effect.
Okay.
So I pre-ordered it from Best Buy. Supposed to come with a steelbook, free steelbook. Get it on Tuesday. Guess what's not in the mail?
Mass Effect.
I have the game.
Bingo.
Steelbook.
Don't have the steelbook. So I called customer service. Well, first I chatted customer
Dude,
service.
that's the worst
20
experience.
minutes later, the guy, it took him 12 minutes to look up my order.
Yep.
12 minutes. 20 minutes later, he said he can't really help me. I just went, enjoy the rest of your shift. Thanks for all your help, bud. Close out of the thing. Call customer service today. 5-minute phone conversation with a gentleman named Alex at Best Buy customer service. Alex, thank you. I call him and I just go, I pre-ordered this game. I didn't get the steelbook. Can you do something for me? And he goes, yeah, I see everything that's going on here. So we're actually going to do a reshipment of this. I was like, what? And he was like, we're going to send you out the game again and the steelbook. And I went, but I already have the game. And he goes, yeah, I know, but we're just going to resend it out. And I went,
Okay.
There you go.
so you're going to send me a second copy of it? And he was like, yeah, so you could either take that game and bring it to the store, or you can just return it to us. And I was like, at no charge to me whatsoever. And he goes, yeah, why would we charge you? And I went, oh, yeah, that's a good point. Why would you charge me? Because you're sending me a fucking brand new game that I
Perfect,
already
yeah.
have.
Perfect. If
So
somebody
I'm
was
not
gonna
argue with
give
it.
away,
Yeah.
then
No,
that would be
I'm
nice.
I'm gonna give it back.
Yeah.
That's bad juju
Brian.
that I don't want on my.
Brian,
But
making a mistake.
they're gonna
That's a
send
mistake, Brian.
Yeah.
They're
They're gonna
That's coming from somebody that like I feel like I have some morals and like
I can't.
That's-
I can't
he
do it.
fucked up. This is the Amazon way to do it.
Yeah,
But
that's the-
The guy
corrected
is
it.
sending me the. He's nice enough to be sending the steelbook and the game back and a return label, and I'm just gonna take out the steelbook, slap the return label back on it, and send it out. But yeah,
Hope they send it right fucking back.
But yeah.
interesting.
it's a weird little side. Mass
You always
Effect
have
stories.
something happen when you
Customer
Yeah.
service, man.
You're
They don't
crazy.
like me.
I just go all digital. All digital.
Smart move,
That's it.
I guess.
walk
But
in the
I was
store.
gonna ask. So, do you think the demo did more harm, or Good.
It potentially might have, because people wouldn't have been seeing all these animations so soon.
Or I mean, and I also meant in the regard of like, because you said right about when the demo ends is when it picks up.
Yep.
And so, do you think, had there not been that demo that ended, people probably might have just banged through it and got to.
Potentially, because literally the mission that you're going on, and I'll explain so that way you guys know
Don't-
where it cut me off.
Right.
On Eos, the first planet, there's a part of the mission, the main mission, where you have to try to go inside the planet, right? And there's a door.
I'm not there. So
No,
don't-
you're not there.
No, but
So
I know,
when
yeah.
you go inside the planet, there's a door. When you get to that door, it's gonna open for you because you have access. Where I didn't have access,
So the
it
door's
was stay
closed.
closed. So I then went around the planet for 3 hours just farming shit, right? But yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I think because right after that part, there's a big sequence that happens, and it's pretty fucking sweet. I thought it was really well done, really cool. It's been done in a lot of different games, but at the same time, it felt fresh. And then from there, once you get off these planets, the one thing is, so you're trying to make these planets safe for humanity
Yeah.
in this game.
Yeah.
So
livable planets.
once you do something to these planets, you're able to pick kind of how you want to station on these planets, which is like, do you want to put,
People, yeah.
scientists on this planet, or do you want to go military? I'm going full on military.
Not surprised
because I'm
at all.
taking over Andromeda is what I'm doing.
I could have guessed.
That's it. That's all you got to do. But the one thing I will
Andromeda.
say is that the bases that you do pick, they allow you to walk around them and interact, and that's kind of like your home hub for these locations now. And it's really well done. Like, there's a lot of people going around it. There's ships coming in and out of your main base and stuff like that, and it just looks really, really, really cool. So I think they've done a really good job with that. There's also a new species that I do enjoy. Like, I think they're really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
All I'll say is they're called the Angara. And
I'll keep an eye out.
Keep out for the Angara.
Planet 1 or 2. Or further down.
2 or 3?
12, so way down there.
Yeah, so you'll see them. But they're really cool. They're really interesting. I like their home world. And then the side missions I've been doing for them have been really interesting. Flying in between worlds, I've already said it. Crafting system, open worlds. Cover system is a piece of shit.
Oh,
I will say that.
Yeah.
Brutal. It's like whatever you walk up next to, it's like, oh, I'm
Hug
up
this
against
fucking
this.
Yeah.
I just prefer the Gears of War cover system.
Yeah. And then the only other negative I have towards it is you're not allowed to choose your companion's abilities in combat. So you can't tell your companions, like,
To,
you should
like,
pull that.
Nova.
So you can't set up like these massive combos where you're like, in previous games, like I would tell someone, overload that person, I'm going to pull them, and then you're going to shockwave.
Yeah.
Like, now you can only tell them, go there, or come to me. There's no
use
use your abilities.
Yeah.
So what happens is, because you get to choose your companion's abilities in the main menu when you're leveling up people,
Yeah.
I'm just auto leveling them up because I don't give a fuck. Like, I don't, because I can't use their abilities. They're
Yeah.
just with me.
What I've been
So-
doing is I have the one guy, Liam. I don't know if you have Liam. I'm sure you do.
Yeah.
You
I'm
got
sure I do, but he's not with me.
Yeah, so the one guy I have is Liam, and it's like level up Liam, and he has like a few different things, and I was just like, it was increase his damage and shields, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do those two because the other things I can't, like, I can't touch.
use. Yeah.
So you might as well give him more health and more damage, so he might be able to do something.
Yeah, so I always, just so you know, with Mass Effect, I always roll with a Krogan. It's got it. You have to have a Krogan in your squad. They're fucking hysterical, and they do massive damage. And then the Asari, is it Asari?
The
or-
blue.
The blue.
The blue.
The blue.
Yeah.
The blue girls, the adepts. I always got to roll with them. Those are my two like go-tos in all the Mass Effects. So I'm rolling with the same crew
Nice.
for the most part, just different names and different animations and different voice actors. And
Yeah, the voice actor.
Same species, just different
all
overall.
different.
yeah.
Very nice.
So, but I'm actually really, really enjoying it. I think it's just one of those games that people want to hate right now because of a silly thing like animation.
I think
there's
that
much more to this game.
Looking back, like in 2 years from now, people are going to go like, it was criminally overlooked. It's going to be one of those games where it's like, yeah, it was a big game, but people really gave it a lot of shit for
very minimal stuff.
Yeah, it's kind of like going back to like Skyward Sword. A lot of people really liked Skyward Sword when it first came out, but looking back, it kind of sucked.
I didn't.
It always
So
sucked. It always sucked.
But you know what I'm saying.
No,
You
I
what I'm
know.
saying.
No,
No.
don't.
well, the more apt comparison was everybody gave Wind Waker shit
Oh, when it first came out.
when it first came out, and then now.
I stand by that.
Well,